r/AskReddit, what is your guess I can't go into that store ever again story? Went to a pizza place to pick up an order. Was handed the food and said, "Thank you, sir." The response was, "My name's Tiffany." Had to send my wife in to get the food until Tiffany didn't work there anymore. Once I went to a restaurant in a resort. A probably 15-year-old girl wearing a freaking skirt, kept getting called a sir. I was just flat and had short hair. Also, I guess my unplucked/waxed/threaded eyebrows made me look more masculine, but damn, I was wearing a skirt and a shirt with a heart on it. It was so awkward. I used to go to a bagel store near my work pretty often, maybe once a week or so. Family-owned shop, with a dad, uncle, mom etc. all working there, as well as the owner's daughter during the summer. I was always pretty friendly to everyone, and talked to the whole family as we were both from NY but lived in the South now. Well, one time after getting a sandwich to go and getting back to the office, I saw the daughter, who was maybe only a few years younger than me, had written her number on the to-go container, which was great, except I was happily engaged at the time. So later that week I went back, got lunch, and let her know I was flattered but I was in a relationship, and she was very polite and we just kind of moved on. The next week, I went back in again. The daughter wasn't working, but when I went to order, the whole family started grilling me on why I wouldn't date their daughter. Accusing me of making up my fiancé, saying I led her on and broke her heart. Again, we had never had any conversations more intimate than how's school. Oh wow, the weather is hot today. Yay, I miss NY sometimes too, ha ha ha. Then they asked how I was going to make it up to her, at which point I kind of slowly started leaving and told them I wasn't sure but I will think of something, and have never returned since. I got a gym membership for the first time recently. A lot of the machines are pretty self-explanatory, but I've never used a lot of them, so I have no idea what I'm doing. So a few weeks ago I'm trying out the endless stare machine, and in front of me is a guy on a machine working his arms, like making circular pedaling motions. I thought, I could do my arms too. So I take the machine next to his, set the timer for 10 minutes, just circling away. I finish my 10 minutes and look down by the seat to see handles. It was a leg machine. I sat there for 10 minutes in front of the entire gym, God, and everybody circling my arms like a lunatic. I mean, I'm still going back because I paid for it, but I'm not going to look anyone in the eye there ever again. There's a guy at my gym who does like jumping karate kicks all the way across the whole floor, then all the way back over and over. I'm waiting for him to decapitate someone walking crossways by accident. I would not even blink at you pedaling with your arms or whatever the heck you did. There's always some dude doing something weirder and more intentional. Not a store, but a public library. We're at the counter, and the librarian is scanning the books we've selected. She was generously sized. My little brother, 4 or 5 at the time, tugs my mom down to whisper something in her ear. He was rather new to the concept of whispering. He put his hand up to shield his lips from the librarian. Despite all this, he says, about the librarian, at standard speaking volume. "Hey mom, ya ever notice how fat that lady is?" Mom tried to play it off by saying something akin to, "He thinks it's okay to say it to others cause he says it to me. But my mom's not fat." It did not work. We used to go there every day when my mom didn't want to have to hire a babysitter to watch us during the summer. She'd bring us to her office, and let us walk across the street to the public library to play games on their Windows Vista PCs, or just read books. She'd always come to pick us up when she was done with work. She started looking for babysitters soon after. I did something similar when I was 5 or 6. Still embarrassed about it. My dad and I were walking into Walmart, and a very fat lady rolled past us on one of those motorized carts. I yelled to my dad, "Look Dad, a fat person. She's fat." I'm sure my dad was dying of embarrassment, haha. I saw an unit Kmart while my mom was pushing me in a cart through the entrance and shouted, probably unintentionally, "Mom, look at that witch." She wheeled the cart back around and left the store. I heard this story a lot when I was young. Back when I was getting married, I was sick as a dog, and my soon-to-be bride insisted we go shopping for the wedding invites. Went into this pretty higher-end shop and really felt ill, and not just at the prices. Asked one of the workers if they had a restroom I could use. Long story short, took a massive smelly diarrhea dump, clogged the toilet, and they had no plunger to fix it with. Even though I only flushed once, the toilet kept running and it started to overflow. Rushed out, closed the door, grabbed my bride by the arm and just said, "We gotta go." I read so many stories of people taking massive diarrhea dumps in public toilets. Each time I can't help but think about the poor souls who do the cleaning later on. How do they fix it? I work in a bar. First you hope it is the opposite gender that you are. Then you use the I can't go in the girls/boys bathroom. This sometimes works. Usually the lowest ranking person just has to spend 30 minutes or so with someone else's poop. I manage a bar, but all my bathrooms are gender neutral and locking, which means that trick doesn't really work. But, you know, I'm the manager, so I've got other stuff to do. TBH though, I usually flip a coin with the runners because let's be real, I've had to clean that shit before and I hate to always give the worst jobs to them. I was with a group of friends in a very quiet store. We were slowly leaving one by one through the double glass doors. One of it was closed and the other stayed opened. I somehow thought the closed door was opened and vice versa, so I walked smack into the middle of the closed glass door. My face was imprinted on it. I guess my face was very oily. My friends and the shopkeeper came rushing to see if I was okay. Then all marveled at my squashed face imprint. I left quickly. Every time I walk past that shop I make sure I am looking down or at the other side in case the staff recognize my face. Hey Joe. Tutted the guy I was telling you about, the one who ran into the glass and left a face print? Yeah. Really? Awesome. Where is that idiot? You missed him. He speed walked away like someone was chasing him. While at the till at the convenience store paying for my lunch, the girl behind the counter asked if I wanted to go for a drink. Being married, I made my apologies hastily, pointing to the ring on my fingers, to which she replied that my lunch was a meal deal and would be cheaper with a drink. She never used the phrase "go for" again. My girlfriend fist bumped the clerk when he was actually reaching to grab a paper we had just signed. Anyway, we don't go to the Tire Kingdom anymore. I fist bumped a cashier at a grocery store a couple days ago. He was just handing me my change. Never buying groceries again. It brings up dark memories. Went on a first date with this girl to a new restaurant in town. She proceeded to get sloppy drunk and made a huge scene. From the classic could not control the volume of her voice to insisting on trying to show me and some other gentleman nearby what kind of underwear she had on, while loudly insisting that she's a good girl though. The server we had seemed to get that I was not a willing part of this, but I was so mortified there's no way I'd ever go back. Note to self, never go on a date in a restaurant you really like. Edit, first date. True story, one of the best first dates I ever had was going to this corny chain sandwich restaurant that my social group always made fun of. I almost didn't go when my date suggested it, but then he explained his rationale: we can embarrass ourselves as much as we like because no one either of us knows ever goes here. Do barber shops count? Decided to get a haircut whilst having a cold. Sneeze and farted at the same time. Never went back. Oh god, I finally have a reason to share this story. One of the first jobs I had, I approached my boss in his office to discuss a report. As I was standing near him, he was sitting in his chair reading the file on his desk. I felt a sneeze come on. Knowing that I didn't have time to grab a tissue, I just turned away from him. However, the sneeze held off, but the gas in my stomach did not. I crop dusted the poor man. Embarrassed, I whipped my body back around to face him, and the centripetal force of my motion must have knocked my sinuses loose. I sneezed upon completing the spin but was in too much shock to cover my face. I gave my boss both an aura of noxious odor and mucus spewed across his face. I was standing next to a colleague at work once while she spoke with a friend, and had a sudden urge to cough while I was drinking water. I didn't have time to turn around, or swallow the water, so I just spat it all in her face. I was fucking mortified. I pissed all over the floor of a toy store when I was a toddler. My poor dad was mortified, but the staff were very nice about it. The store's closed now, which really sucks. I don't think I actually remember the name of the place. Edit. Thanks for all the suggestions as to what the store's name might have been. It was actually an independent toy store, not a big chain like Toys R Us, which is still open in Canada. I did some searching on the Wayback Machine last night and found out that the store's name was It's All Fun and Games in Vancouver. If you worked there, sorry for pissing all over your floor. When I was a kid, my family went to a pizzeria Uno, and before the food came I went to inspect the plumbing. They had those sinks where you press down on the knob and the water would flow, with the knob slowly raising back up before it would turn off after 20 seconds. I used my fist and hit the top of the knob and the thing just popped off and a huge geyser of water was erupting non-stop. Me and another kid were in there. We looked at each other and just bolted from the bathroom. I got back to my seat and just sat there silent. Then my mom went to use the bathroom, and when she came back she told us this story of how there was a pool in the bathroom hallway and the manager and an employee were in the men's room slipping and sliding trying to shut off the water. My whole family was laughing at the story, But I just sat there silent. They asked me what's wrong and I told them it was me that did it. They never fail to mention it every time we drive past a pizzeria. Oh no, even now 20 years later. I've never stepped foot in one since then. Edit. Since a lot of people are asking, inspecting the plumbing was a joke my family made when I'd go to pee at a restaurant. I'd usually be a glutton about free drink refills, and would always have to get up and pee mid-meal, so my family always joked I was obligated to inspect the plumbing at every establishment. I was in a souvenir shop in London, England, with all these knickknacks and whatnot. I bumped a shelf that had a bunch of models of Big Ben, and like 6 or 7 of them fell off the shelf and broke. I offered to pay for them, but the employees blew it off. I guess minimum wage workers don't care enough about their actual company policy, thankfully. I was grateful, and now I will never return to that particular store. I sat on a Target shelf and the entire row of shelves crashed down onto the ground. I'm at a coffee shop, have a glass of coffee in front of me, filled to the top. That shit is almost overflowing. I raise my hand to get the waitress' attention because I want to order something else. I accidentally whack the shit out of the glass. This sends it flying across the room where it hits the waitress on the thigh and gets coffee fucking everywhere. Felt bad, so I left and never went back. Nice shot. Did you make it through the whole video? If so, thank you for your time. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Have a good day, or night, or evening, or morning, or whatever.